We are here at the laboratory at the Camarillo Sanitary District, where we analyze the wastewater and recycle water for the city and residents of Camarillo. My name is Darren Carter, and I'm the Water Reclamation Superintendent for Camarillo Sanitary District. I'm here joined today by our chemist, Shane Doss, and our laboratory specialist, Eric Dean. Our laboratory is an accredited environmental analysis laboratory certified by the California State Water Resource Control Board through the Environmental Laboratory Accreditation Program. The laboratory staff help the district and the water reclamation plant to stay running and maintain regulatory compliance with federal, state, and local standards. So Shane, what type of tests do we run here in the lab?
We test for all sorts of parameters in different parts of the treatment process and the recycled water leaving the plant. Some of the primary things we test for all the time are bacteria levels, especially coliform bacteria and E. coli, the amount of solid matter in the water, levels of various dissolved salts, nitrogen levels, and oxygen demand.
So how often are we doing these analyses?
Some we do every day, like testing for bacteria levels and levels of solids in different stages of the treatment process. Everything is on a big rotating schedule, and many of the things we test for once a month or less, like levels of different pesticides and even radiation levels, are not changing quickly in the plant, so they don't have to be tested every day. Things like bacteria levels, amounts of solids, and the amount of disinfectant in our contact channels can change quickly day to day, so we need to test for those more often. One of us here is testing for something 7 days a week or 365 days a year.
So Eric, how and where do you all get the samples to test? Maybe you can run us through what samples you're taking and the analysis that is being done.
Sure. Yeah, most of our samples are taken at different points here in the reclamation plant, starting with headworks where the untreated wastewater enters the plant. We have a pump that we can fill up sample containers with, and this lets us get a sort of starting baseline for the treatment plant so we can determine how well it's removing everything that needs to be treated. We also take samples from intermediate stages of treatment, like at our primary clarifiers, aeration basins, secondary clarifiers, digesters, and contact channels, often with either a pump or a sample stick. This lets us see how each process is working and allows the operations staff to make adjustments as needed based on the results. Where a lot of our sampling takes place is at our discharge point, which is the end of the treatment process where the clean recycled water leaves the plant. It's very important to ensure all of the parameters of the water leaving are up to standard, since this water then either goes on to irrigate landscaping and food crops or is discharged into the watershed.
So Eric, what other samples do we analyze other than recycled water?
We also do a lot of analyses on the creek water, both upstream and downstream of the treatment plant, to ensure that we aren't negatively impacting the environment. It's many of the same tests we do on the treatment plant water, plus toxicity testing to ensure nothing entering the environment harms the wildlife that lives there. The biosolids that result from the treatment process, which is the solids coming out of the plant, it's almost like fertilizer once it's treated, also get tested for all sorts of salt, bacteria, and other contaminants to make sure they're clean enough to be further composted and used as fertilizer. We also test the bacteria levels of drinking water samples for the Camarillo Water Department.
So Eric, what does a typical day look like for a laboratory staff here at Camarillo Sanitary District?
Well, it's a lot of quality control. Our day usually starts off by checking equipment, temperatures of incubators, calibrating equipment, any other tasks we'll need to get done quality control-wise. Then we get to preparing any test materials we'll need to have ready when samples arrive, and then we get to sampling. We always have to sample the plant every day, and sometimes we'll need to take samples from the Conejo Creek and our biosolids drying beds. We'll bring the samples back, log them in, and begin analyses. Sometimes, depending on what we are testing for that day, we'll be analyzing samples pretty much the whole day, or sometimes it will only be for a couple hours. When we do have slower days testing-wise, we'll spend the rest of the day catching up on quality control tasks, reviewing data, writing operations or regulatory reports, cleaning equipment, or anything else that needs doing.
Shane, what do you like about working in the laboratory?
Working in the lab and at the reclamation plant in general makes you feel like you're making a worthwhile contribution to the community. It's like one big family here, and it feels good protecting the environment.
Working in the lab's fun. There's always interesting or niche problems to solve, and you get to do a little bit of everything. There's always some new piece of equipment, new method, or new regulatory requirement to learn about. At the end of the day, you're providing a much needed service to the community.
Wow, Shane and Eric, it really seems like you both enjoy working here at the laboratory at Camarillo Sanitary District. It shows that you're dedicated to protecting the residents here and ensuring the water quality here for Camarillo residents. Thank you again both.